Breaking news. You're listening to Byte-Sized Tech with urgent tech updates. And boy, do we have an urgent tech update for you today. Get ready, because a truly monumental federal antitrust ruling against Google has just dropped, and trust me, it's really shaking up the tech world.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to dive into what this means for the tech giant, and maybe even more importantly, for you, the user. I mean, who doesn't rely on Google pretty much every day?
Exactly.
This ruling is super recent, just handed down September 2nd, 2025. It's already, like, the hottest topic out there.
It really is a landmark decision. And, not just because it's the biggest case like this against a tech company in, over 25 years?
Right.
What's really interesting, I think, is how the judge tried to be quite precise, sort of fostering competition, opening the door a bit, but without, completely wrecking the digital setup Google built.
Yeah, the one we all kind of rely on, for better or worse.
Exactly. It's a tricky balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between the rules and regulations and, how things actually work in the market. The implications are huge for how we all use tech.
Absolutely. Sounds like the judge was walking a real tightrope. So, okay, let's get into it. What does this all actually mean for Google and for how we all use the internet? Let's crack this open.
Okay, so let's unpack this ruling from Judge Amit Mehta. You said it feels like a tightrope walk, tough in some ways, but maybe a bit of a relief for Google in others. What exactly did he decide?
Well, what's fascinating is, the nuance. He specifically said no to forcing Google to sell off Chrome, its browser, which, that was a huge potential blow they avoided.
A massive win for them, surely.
Yeah, huge. Judge Mehta basically said he couldn't see that Google's market power was sufficiently attributable to its illegal conduct to justify forcing a sale like that.
Okay.
And he also felt, frankly, that trying to break it up would be incredibly messy and highly risky. So Chrome, the browser so many of us use every day, stays with Google. Which is probably exactly why the DOJ wanted it spun off, right? Because it's so dominant.
Precisely. It's their prime digital real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But the ruling isn't all good news for Google. There are some real teeth here.
Okay. Like what?
Google is now barred, completely forbidden, from making those exclusive deals to be the default search engine on phones, tablets, whatever.
Ah, right. Those deals with Apple and Samsung that were a big part of the lawsuit.
Exactly, those deals. That was really at the heart of the original case. So no more locking in that top spot automatically.
So it makes it more competitive, maybe. But can they still, pay to be on the phone?
That's the key point, yes. And this is where that balance comes in. Google can still pay device makers to preload its stuff, Google Search, its AI tools, Gemini, etc.
Okay.
So you can pay to get your app on the device, that's allowed. But you can't pay to be the only default search engine and block everyone else out.
Right, so the exclusivity part is gone. The hope is other search engines might get a look in now.
That's the idea. Even if Google's pre-installed, maybe users will have an easier choice, or other companies can compete better for that default spot.
Okay, so that's a critical difference. Preloading, yes. Exclusive defaults, no. What else did the judge order? Anything about data?
Yes, there is. The ruling says Google has to share some search data with third parties. Now, it's specifically certain search index data and user interaction data.
Meaning,
more like anonymized, aggregated info about how the search engine generally works and how people interact with results overall. Not crucially, your individual searches or data specifically for advertising.
okay, so it's meant to give competitors a bit of a leg up, maybe, a foundation.
Exactly. And to make sure Google actually does all this, there's going to be a new tech oversight committee. They'll monitor Google's compliance for, get this, 6 years.
6 years, wow. Okay, so that's not just a quick fix?
No, it's a long-term thing. Definitely not just a slap on the wrist.
So Judge Mehta really did thread the needle, huh? Google keeps Chrome, which is huge, but those default deals are gone. That is a big shift. It creates space, maybe, without a full breakup.
It feels very pragmatic, yeah. Google probably breathed a sigh of relief about Chrome, but now they have to rethink those big partnership deals.
And competitor.
For competitors, it's a glimmer of hope. It's not like Google's monopoly is suddenly gone, but the door is open a crack wider. They can compete more fairly for users, potentially.
Interesting. It also sends a signal, doesn't it, that courts are willing to step into these big tech markets?
Definitely. In a measured way, maybe, but they're willing to act. Just to give a little context, this whole thing started way back in 2020 when the Justice Department, the DOJ, first filed the suit.
Right, arguing Google abused its monopoly.
Exactly. Then in 2024, the judge actually agreed with the DOJ, finding Google did have an illegal monopoly. That led us to this year, starting around April, the remedies phase, basically figuring out the penalty.
And that's where the real fight was, over what the punishment should be. To really get the significance of what Judge Mehta ordered, we kind of need to know what the DOJ wanted, right? They had much bigger ideas, didn't they?
Oh yeah, the DOJ came in swinging. They were pushing for a much more drastic overhaul. They really urged the judge to force Google to spin off Chrome entirely.
The whole browser. Wow.
The browser, and even its open source foundation, Chromium. And on the data front, they wanted Google to share essentially all its search data.
All of it. Like my specific clicks and searches.
Well, maybe anonymized, but yeah, the granular user click data, the search queries people type in.
Yeah.
They argued this was absolutely essential for competitors to actually stand a chance.
That sounds huge. What was their thinking behind such drastic steps? Just breaking the monopoly.
It was about search. Yes, limiting Google's power there. But it was also really forward-looking. The DOJ was worried Google would use its search dominance to unfairly dominate new markets, especially AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Exactly. They saw data as the key ingredient for AI, and they wanted to prevent Google from leveraging its search data to build an unassailable lead in AI before that market even fully formed, kind of nipping a future monopoly in the bud.
And Google, I imagine, wasn't too keen on handing over the keys to the kingdom.
Keen is not the word. They fought back hard. They objected to pretty much everything except eventually rolling back those exclusive search contracts. That part they did agree to, which ended up in the ruling.
But the Chrome spinoff, the data sharing.
Strongly opposed. They argued forcing divestiture would actually hurt the market, stifle innovation across the board, and basically just give competitors an unfair handout.
The classic, it's bad for innovation defense.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Their argument was, look, our products are popular because they're good, not because we cheat.
Didn't their CEO, Sundar Pichai, testify?
He did, yeah. Sundar Pichai, CEO of both Google and the parent company Alphabet, testified. He called the DOJ's proposals so far-reaching, so extraordinary. He basically framed it as the government trying to force them to sell off their core IP.
An existential threat, in their view.
That was definitely the message they conveyed. Splitting us up will break everything and harm innovation. It's a common argument in these cases, and it's always tough for courts to figure out how much is genuine concern versus just protecting dominance.
Okay, let's focus on Chrome for a second. The judge didn't break it up, and you said it's vital. Why exactly is Chrome so critical to Google's whole operation? It's just a browser, isn't it? Or is it more?
Oh, it's so much more. It's absolutely fundamental to their business. Think about it, nearly 40%, almost half of all Google searches in the U.S. come directly through the Chrome browser.
40%? Wow.
Yeah, it's a massive pipeline straight to their search engine. And it's not just about the search traffic itself. Chrome provides really valuable, though anonymized, user data that helps Google target ads way more effectively.
Which is where they make most of their money.
Exactly. So Chrome feeds the search engine, which feeds the data, which fuels the advertising machine. It's like the central hub of their digital empire.
Less a browser, more a strategic linchpin and data funnel.
Okay, that makes sense why competitors were eyeing it.
They definitely were. Just weeks before the ruling, Perplexity, one of Google's AI rivals, actually said publicly they were itching for a chance to buy Chrome. They even threw out a number. $34.5 billion.
Whoa.
Yeah. And another competitor, the founder of Ecosia, the search engine that plants trees.
Oh, right.
He suggested Chrome shouldn't just be sold, but maybe put into some kind of stewardship, using its profits for climate action. It just shows how incredibly valuable everyone sees Chrome. It's almost like a piece of public infrastructure.
That's wild. Okay, shifting gears a bit, but related. AI. This seems like maybe the most future-facing part of the case. The DOJ argued Google's search dominance could let them dominate AI too. What was the worry there?
Yeah, this is super important for where tech is heading. The DOJ's point was that Google could use its AI products like Gemini, its chatbot, to make its search monopoly even stronger.
Well, by integrating AI deeply into search, maybe making it indispensable. But also, crucially, by using all that search data to train better AI models than anyone else could.
Yeah.
The fear was locking up the AI future by controlling the data needed to build it.
And that's why they wanted Google to share search data, to help others build AI.
Precisely. They wanted Google forced to license search tech and data like user clicks, search queries. The ideal was to give smaller players the raw materials they need to build their own search engines, yes, but also, critically, to train their own large language models, LLMs, their chatbots.
Kind of democratizing the AI building block.
Exactly. trying to prevent one company from essentially owning the future intelligent layer of the internet.
And Google's response? I assume they said the AI field is already super competitive.
They did. They pushed back hard, saying the AI race is already incredibly healthy, very competitive. They pointed to OpenAI and ChatGPT, Meta's AI, Perplexity, basically saying, look, competition is thriving. We're just one player here.
Don't fix what isn't broken, essentially.
Right. And don't handicap us while we're competing globally.
So how did Judge Mehta ultimately land on this AI piece? Did he buy the DOJ's fear or Google's defense?
Well, he didn't order that massive data dump the DOJ wanted. That would have been revolutionary. But remember that part about sharing some search index and user interaction data?
Yeah, the foundational stuff.
That directly addresses the DOJ's concern. It's a nod to the idea that access to some data is important for fostering competition, especially for AI developers. It signals the court sees the link between search data and the AI race.
So not the full deluge, but a trickle maybe? A measured step?
A measured step seems like a good way to put it. It acknowledges the issue without going as far as the DOJ proposed. It tries to ensure innovation isn't totally cornered, but it's not opening the floodgates entirely.
You know, this whole situation feels familiar. It's being called the biggest antitrust case in ages, and people keep comparing it to that huge Microsoft case back in the late 90s.
Absolutely. History definitely echoes here. The US v. Microsoft case from 1998 is the obvious parallel. Back then, the government went after Microsoft for essentially forcing PC makers to take Internet Explorer along with Windows.
Leveraging their OS monopoly to kill the competing browser, Netscape?
Exactly. Similar arguments about using dominance in one area to gain an unfair advantage in another, just like the claims against Google using search dominance.
And didn't the judge in the Microsoft case initially order something really drastic, like breaking the company up?
He did. Judge Thomas Penfield Jackson ordered Microsoft to be split into two separate companies, one for the operating system, one for everything else. It was a bombshell ruling at the time.
But that didn't actually happen in the end, did it?
No, didn't stick. That decision got partly overturned on appeal in 2001. Microsoft was not broken up. They ended up agreeing to certain conduct remedies, like setting up an internal antitrust compliance committee.
And many argue Microsoft actually pivoted and became even stronger afterwards, especially in cloud.
That's a common take, yeah. That experience trying to break up a tech giant and having it overturned definitely loomed large over this Google case.
So the DOJ knew this history. They kind of modeled their approach on the Microsoft case.
Oh, explicitly. They used the Microsoft case as a sort of roadmap for their complaint against Google and for the kinds of remedies they asked for.
Yeah.
But they also knew the pitfalls.
Right. Like knowing that actually enforcing a breakup is incredibly difficult.
Exactly. And that probably influenced Judge Mehta's thinking, too.
Mm.
Seeing how the Microsoft breakup attempt ended likely pushed him towards remedies for Google that were more about changing conduct and access rather than full divestiture, trying to find something more likely to stick, perhaps.
More pragmatic, maybe, for today's even more interconnected tech world.
Possibly. It's always this tension, isn't it, between wanting to ensure fair competition and dealing with the reality of these massive, deeply integrated companies. So if we zoom out, look at the bigger picture, this ruling is a pretty clear sign, I think. Governments, regulators, they're watching how these huge tech companies use their power, especially now with AI emerging so fast.
It's not just about search anymore.
Not at all. It's about finding that really difficult balance. How do you let companies innovate, which we want, but also make sure there's a level playing field? This ruling sets a kind of precedent, maybe, for how competition might be managed in the digital age, and ultimately that affects how information gets to you.
It really gives us a lot to think about, doesn't it? So let me ask you, the listener, what stands out to you from all this? Do you think Judge Mehta got it right? Did he go far enough in reining in Google? Or maybe not far enough, or maybe too far?
Yeah, it's complex.
And how do you think these changes, the end of default deals, the data sharing, how might that actually change the way you search for things or discover information online in the next few years? It's going to be really fascinating to see how it all plays out. That's it for this breaking update on Byte-Sized Tech. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay on top of the latest tech news.